Hi, I'm Evil Mason, and this is Cinema Rewind. We take a look at movies 5 years back and beyond. It's Alfred Hitchcock month, so we're examining some of the legendary director's finest films. Today we're talking about the 1959 movie, North by Northwest, starring Cary Grant and Eva Marie Saint. Where's the rest of your costume? It's degrading! Put them back on, or I'll actually make you disappear.
The plot.
Ah, do a spin. Oh, now we match, sidekick. I feel violated, man. I told you I wanted to be called Eduardo now. I'm not gonna do that, because that's a dumb name. Don't say that. We're gonna get a lot of angry Eduardo emails. We start the movie with advertising executive Roger Thornhill. He goes to a meeting with some clients and calls over an employee of the hotel to send a telegram to his mother. Two goons see him and, through a misunderstanding, pick him up and bring him back to their boss at a fancy mansion. The bad guy gives his monologue to a confused Roger. You see, they think Roger is the secret US agent, George Kaplan. He tells them that he has no clue what they're talking about, and the baddie obviously doesn't believe him.
Not that I mind a slight case of abduction now and then, but I have tickets for the theater this evening, to a show I was looking forward to. And I get, well, kind of unreasonable about things like that.
With such expert play acting, you make this very room a theater.
They fill him up with an entire bottle of bourbon and send him off in a car. The police pick him up and lock him up for drunk driving. To prove he didn't purposefully drink and drive, he takes the police back to the baddie's house. The whole place has been cleaned and covered up. The person who owns the house, Mr. Townsend, is in the United Nations. Roger heads up to the United Nations to talk to him. He runs into him and, surprise, Mr. Townsend is not the guy who was in the house. The new Mr. Townsend is promptly stabbed in the back by one of the baddie's goons, and Roger is framed for his murder. Okay, there's already a lot going on already. Yeah, let me recap so far. Roger has been framed for murder and is on the run from the US government and the baddies. He heads on a train to Chicago because he finds out that's where the real Kaplan is going. He sneaks onto a train because he can't buy a ticket. Right, he can't buy a ticket. No, he can't buy the ticket. Right, he can't buy a ticket. He can't buy a ticket. He's a fugitive. He can't buy a ticket. No, he can't buy a ticket. Can't buy a ticket. He sneaks on this train and runs into the beautiful Eve Kendall. They hit it off. Shut up, idiot. Roger and Eve spend the night together and sneak out the next day. Eve has a contact to get Roger in touch with the real Mr. Kaplan. She sends Roger out into a cornfield where one of the most iconic scenes in film history happens. Roger heads back to find out that Eve set him up and is working for the bad guy. Hurt, Roger follows her to an art auction where she sits with the bad guy. He disrupts the auction and attempts to get arrested so he can tell the police where the bad guy is. When the police officers call the station, they are instructed to bring Roger to the airport. Roger is then briefed by an FBI agent who explains that the real Kaplan doesn't even exist. What? Keep quiet. I only keep you around because you're the only person who's dumb enough and smart enough to meet all my demands. You'll see how smart I am. Those ears, man. The tail. Not to ruin anything, there's fighting and espionage, and the movie ends by characters hanging off of Mount Rushmore.
The good stuff.
I didn't ruin the ending of the movie because I want you to see it. It's a modern epic. When other guys were making biblical epics like The Ten Commandments or Ben-Hur, Hitchcock was making his own epic in his own way. The crop duster scene is amazing. One of the first movies was of a train going down a track, and I've heard that people ran out of the theater because they were afraid the train would crush them. The plane feels the exact same way. Somehow Hitchcock knows how to play with your head and really put that plane in there. You can touch it, it's like 3D. It just really is an awesome movie. The classic fashion, the mid-Atlantic accents, and everything else.
The pitfalls.
Whew, boy, this puppy is long. I have a hard time watching anything clocking in around 2 hours, and this is no exception. Maybe it's my millennial brain, but I was just getting antsy. I guess that is what makes it an epic. A million storylines converging and playing with each other. It's just a lot, okay?
In conclusion,
One of Hitchcock's finest films and an American epic. Go to your local library and pick up a copy. It's amazing and most definitely worth a watch. I'm Evil Mason, I like movies, and I'll see you next time on